Hello everybody, it's K to the A to the T to the O, back at it again with another video. I'm watching Gamescom right now. It's so hype, and they just announced one of the best games of all time, Little Nightmares 3, bro. I can't express how happy and hyped I am. So let's just react to this. We're gonna go through it once, show you how I felt about it, and then we're gonna slowly like dissect this, cause I love Little Nightmares. Little Nightmares 1 and 2 are like some of my favorite games of all time that we've gotten in recent time in terms of indie like horror type games, and this game looks immaculate. So let's just go through it. Put this at the highest quality. Can't put it on 4K yet. I mean, this is like 15 minutes. Um, they just put this out. God, it looks so good, bro. That's so sick, by the way. I'll talk about a little bit more in detail in a minute here. Let's just appreciate this. God damn. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about this in detail. I'm gonna have it kind of pause it where I want to talk. So obviously this is a brand new location. I forget what they called it. They talked a little bit about it after they showed the initial trailer, and I was trying to listen, but I don't have all the pieces of info of what everything's called. But this is a whole new area. We've never seen this or experienced this location in the Little Nightmares universe before, which is fair. This is more like a wasteland type place, and I'm very interested to see how this connects to the other two games, especially since two kind of connects the storyline by six being in two, and it being kind of a prequel of how she gets to the Mog and how that whole story happens, and then we get what takes place at the Mog of how like six gets her like nightmare abilities and her going through the ship and all that stuff. So I'm interested to see if three is actually going to take place after one in terms of storyline connection wise, because this could be its alternate own thing in a certain like this could happen after before. We don't really know when this takes place. Obviously when the game comes out we'll know by then, but to me it's hard to say. um I will say though I'm leaning more towards after, but I'll talk a little bit more about it in a bit. There's a key frame or scene that I'm thinking of that I'll kind of go over my theory of what's going on. But this is one of our new characters. I think they said his name is Lou, and then the other character was like Alone or something like that. Lou or Louis, or one's a girl and one's a guy, obviously. But I think they said Lou and something. I'm not 100% sure on that, but oh, by the way, like I'm. This is such a drastic change from the first two games because the first two games had a lot of water. Uh, well, one being on a ship, and it teetering and having a bunch of water. Even the Little Nightmares 1 DLC had a lot of water because you were in like the under level of the ship and swimming through that. And then it starts off and you're in a swamp. There's a lot of swamp water, and then in the second game, I mean. So this is like a drastic change where it's all deserty, and it seems like almost like some sort of war is happening. It doesn't necessarily look like that, but I'm not too sure actually. Like just the setting, you know what I mean? All the gray and the yellow. It looks very nice though, like very clean. Here's our two characters together. This could be the first time they're meeting. This is very similar to Little Nightmares 2 when Mono puts out his hand to help Six, but she runs past, and then later on, yeah. So this is very cool, very neat. They're two very different looking characters as well. I'm curious to see if the masks have anything to take part in their powers, or if they get powers, or what's going to happen in the story. I'm very interested in that section, to be precise. So yeah, this is the big thing that's kind of making my cogs turn a little bit. So there's a lot of smoke, and it's a mirror, and it seems like mirrors have a big um lore, like it for the story relevance. It seems like even in the first game, mirrors and shadows had a big feature. I mean, prominent, like it was very prominent in the story, is what I'm trying to say. um because like thinking of the tall lady, the villain of the Little Nightmares 1, she used the mirror all the time, and like it seemed like whatever she looked at, she can turn people into gnomes, and that's how you defeated her. You had the mirror and made her look at herself, which kept stunning her, and then that whole thing. um so that kind of seems like what's happening here again. But the reason I'm bringing that up from Little Nightmares 1 is because 6 actually ate, well, she chewed on her neck, the tall lady's neck, and it seemed like she gained her powers, which was shadows and darkness, and she could suck the souls out of people. And that's kind of what this vibe is. I don't know 100% if that's true or not. But I think it would make sense, especially since 6, I mean, we can assume went off on her own, probably to go somewhere else or explore the world. And maybe this is kind of the aftermath of her getting to this place where our two other characters are, and she's going to be the big bad villain of this game. That's not 100% sure, but the mirror and the shadows and the dark particles is kind of a big, green flag for me that this could very well take place after 1, and 6 is kind of the main antagonist or villain of this story. Now, we haven't actually seen anything on that because this trailer is very short, it's only a minute, but that's kind of what I'm thinking up here. Like, yeah, just the shadows, the dark particles, and all that, yeah. So this is very cool. Um, let's slow this down here. So they actually have umbrellas, and they actually said after the trailer that this is going to be a playable co-op. Now it says you can play single player, so I'm assuming, whatever. I don't know if you get to choose which characters you play, but I'm assuming you just pick a character and then the other person's an AI. Or if you're playing local, I believe they said online co-op, so I'm assuming there's local co-op. I really hope so. I couldn't see why not. So you and your buddy could be playing, or online, you and your buddy could be playing. So that's awesome already off the bat, because that's kind of what I thought with Little Nightmares 2, is it was going to be co-op. I wasn't actually mad that it wasn't for story purposes. Um, and I thought the AI did fine. It did what it needed to. So I'm assuming here it should be a pretty smooth co-op experience as well, even if you play by yourself. But it is very, very nice that you actually can play with another person. I think that's going to make the experience way better, so you can go through these nightmares together. I'm super excited about that. Very impressed, very happy about that. Also, these umbrella sections look very cool. I hope there's not just one of these. I hope you do this a couple times. It looks very neat. They're turning a cog together. Let's go back to normal speed here. I just wanted to slow that down. Oh, you actually could see there that it's actually just one person, and the other person's actually using the umbrella to go up. So actually, we might be using these umbrellas quite a bit. They're also made of feathers, which is a very neat detail to point out. Very neat, very neat. It looks very good. This looks like inside of a house section. They're playing the piano, probably doing a puzzle, because he's holding a lever and the other person's pressing buttons in a certain order, and the colors are lighting up. Very interesting. So these seem to be the villains or the civilians of wherever they are at this moment. Kind of similar to the big giant people from the Mog or Little Nightmares 1, the people that were eating the all the food and the gluttony. They look similar to them, but it's not exactly. We didn't see much of them in Little Nightmares 2 because didn't actually get to see many people because they were all disappearing. It seemed like they all vanished. So this is interesting. Again, this seems like it's going to tie into the first game a lot, especially since these guys look very similar to the people from the Mog. And it seems it wants to continue that story, which I'm very happy about, it looks like. We get some weird, creepy goo monster here. We get a really good shot of the two characters. They look very interesting and cool, by the way. Really like their design. I don't think these two are going to be, like, part of the main 9 kids we know of, especially since I don't think we've seen them in the comics either. I could be wrong about that. I could be mistaken, but there's a bunch of Little Nightmares comics that kind of goes over a bunch of side characters or kids. People have been claiming that there's some of the kids, like 1, 2. Mono means 1. 6, we've known 6. So maybe we're learning more about, 2, 3, 4, and 5. People are saying this could be 3 and 4, but I don't think so. They don't look very similar to the characters in the comics at all. None that we've seen so far, and it looks like these could just be completely different characters. And it looks there's 5 arms came out of that. By the way, it wasn't just 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Interesting. So it could be like a 5-armed monster there. Very cool. This is underground dark section. Looks very nice. There's a bunch of bugs. Looks like this girl. Actually, I'm not going to assume it's a girl, but this character here has like a wrench, kind of similar to Mono, how he could carry pipes and stuff and deal damage that way. Well, he's carrying the light, so maybe this character has to protect this character. This looks very awesome. I can't wait. They're both crawling up, both holding down a lever. Yeah, she has a wrench here while he has a jar. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be character specific. Like, this character is going to be the strong character that can only hold weapons, and this one has to hold the other. Like the other type of objects, we'll see, I suppose. But very interesting detail that this character here seems to be only holding the heavy weapons, and this one doesn't seem to be holding the objects of interest, it seems like. Just a note there, and they both pulled it off. Very Little Nightmares like. They're running through. Looks very Little Nightmares like. It's a falling wagon. Nice. So this is, again, another part. This is very similar to Little Nightmares 2, where Mono and Eleven go into the TV. But this also connects to Little Nightmares 1 because it's a giant mirror. And mirrors have a big significance in the Little Nightmare universe. And I think they both actually... You see the darkness forming here, like it's going to make a silhouette or something. We see some... The first look at, like, it seems like the big first bad guy or big monster we've actually seen in this game so far. And it's like a giant baby doll thing. It looks terrifying, by the way. It looks great. They're climbing up here. Again, this looks very similar to 2, where you're running through the streets. So they might be experimenting more with that type of... I mean, just the look of it, it looks visually insane. Like, just seeing a giant monster like this while you're tiny, it's awesome. And also, there's a little noose there. Interesting. I wonder if that's a reference to the Hanging Man from the first game. Probably going into context here. Ugh, this thing looks creepy as all hell, and I love it. It's hard to tell, like, it looks like a doll. The face of it's a doll. This eye hasn't moved yet. Yeah, let's try and get another look at that thing. It doesn't look like its facial features move at all, but it's also like weird and scaly down here. I don't know. It's very, very odd looking, but very creepy. They did an excellent job. It's chasing you throughout. It looks like its eyeball is the flashlight here. Like, again, this is why it looks like it's almost like a machine, it feels like. Or, yeah, like a machine or a doll. Because, yeah, it looks like its eye is just shooting out the light. I don't know if that was his closed eye on his right there we saw earlier. Or, interesting. Because if he's looking like that, it could be his right or left. It looks more like his left, but we'll see, I suppose. Very interesting detail there. Very interesting. This it looks like these creatures are turned into statues. It almost looks like statues, or they're frozen in place because they don't move at all, and it looks like they're stuck in whatever position. Like, so there could be a Medusa type creature. This creature could turn people into stone or something. We're not too sure. We see our two characters here. I'm just theory crafting at this point. I'm so interested in this game. I cannot wait. Um, See, as you can see here, they actually they get sucked in. Well, this character holds out his hand, very similar to Mono and Six, um, and they get sucked into the mirror. So it could be very much like the second game where he gets transported into a different type world and get some little lore significance. In the TV realm, it was pretty much who we had the rundown. Uh, Run down the hallway, which at the end is actually Mono when he turns into the Hanging Man. Spoilers, I suppose. Although, if you're watching a Little Nightmares 3 trailer breakdown, I'm assuming you already know a lot about 1 and 2, but if not, unlucky, I suppose. Um, yeah, it's interesting. I'm very interested. This also could be relating to the first game with the mirrors as well, but in the second game specifically, you could use the TVs to teleport from one spot to another TV, like TV to TV, or it had specific lore parts where you go into a TV and you saw certain stuff. So that's good to keep in mind. And now here, the mirror keeps getting more broken and broken, and it looks like the darkness is like getting mad about that. Like it's almost angry. Like it keeps coming closer and closer to the camera. Like it's getting upset that it keeps getting broken. Very interesting. This is a really cool shot. I don't know where this is, but it looks like some incinerator room which keeps throwing all this trash. It has super tall, or maybe just insects, or I don't know what. Some sort of objects keep getting chucked down here. Oh my god. I can't wait. Next year, guys. Next year, Little Nightmares 3. I'm excited, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Later.